Hello, guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Vijeta, and today I will be talking about one of my favorite poets of the Romantic century. It is none other than John Keats. It's not Romantic century, but more like the Romantic movement. So, as I have already talked, like during the times of the Industrial Revolution, when tradition or you can say science and technology came into power and everything was determined by reason and rationality. The counter movement to that was the romantic movement. People said that science, technology, reason, rationality are not the only things that a human soul can survive on, and therefore the romantic movement came into existence. And one of the main people, poets involved in the romantic movement were the people like Wordsworth, John Keats, P.B. Shelley, etc. And today I want to talk about John Keats, one of the main poems of John Keats. Actually, there is a movie about him called Bright Star, in which this poem is actually very emphasized, and I wanted to talk about it. It's called Ode to a Nightingale, and if you read the poem, it has a lot of imagery, a lot of talks about nature, and how the poet wants to just get dissolved into an idealistic world. And one thing that I find very interesting about this poem is that it kind of resonates with the contemporary times. For instance, right now also we want to be immersed in art. We want to be art in the sense that we just want to watch movies and Netflix. We are trying to find an escape, although it's not a very healthy form of escape. But the tendency of human beings to find a kind of escape, a kind of happy place is still prevalent. And I wonder why, but you don't have to wonder too much because reality, the world is not very idealistic. We have trials and tribulations, and when we don't have them, then boredom comes in. Like, human soul can't be satisfied on just one thing. It's not monotonous. And while we have resources to choose from right now, it's I will not say that we have Instagram only. We have more choices. Like in the previous times, people didn't have much choices than the healthier ones. Well, that is something that was beneficial for them. But I just think that the poems in his line, when he says that people who are just old and weary and they are just tired all the time. Like if you read Ode to a Nightingale, there is this line where people are actually saying that where but to think is to be full of sorrow and leaden eye despairs, where beauty cannot keep her lustrous eyes or new love pine at them beyond tomorrow. It basically means that once you start thinking too much, once you start knowing too much, you will be burdened with the knowledge that things are not very simple, or things there is despair in this world, and beauty will not last forever. We will all age and die basically. And it kind of reminds me how in the contemporary life also, children grow up, they go outside, find jobs, and they start knowing the reality of the world, and it kind of starts swaying them down. The dreamy eyed look is replaced by a serious eyed look, and that kind of matches with what John Keats said like 200, 300 years ago. And that is why I sometimes feel that you can find this kind of solace in literature, because although it's just not providing a solution, but sometimes you don't want a solution, you want empathy. And empathy really means that the other person is understanding exactly what you are feeling rather than sympathizing with you, because sometimes sympathy feels like a patronizing thing, like a condescending thing. Oh, I feel so sorry for you. That is basically sympathy. And empathy is like, okay, okay, go on. I feel you. I mean, you get it. Empathy is like when you understand the other person's pain, and sympathy is like you don't understand, but you're saying, yeah, I get it. I mean, okay, I feel so sorry for you. I mean, it's more deeper than that. I'm just scraping the surface, but you understand it. The level of empathy that you get from something that totally relates with you is something that is very comforting, and that is why a lot of songs, sad songs, are very popular because of their lyrics or the music that speaks, and books and poetry. And I think Victorian poetry has that richness, that eloquence, that elegant form, too many metaphors, too many imageries, and that to one point. Like there are not too many metaphors which can make you feel confused or like what is this flabbergasted. You understand what the poet is trying to say. It's although it's too much, but it is also crystal clear. Like it's a kaleidoscope that is not making you confused, that is actually making an image, that is actually painting a picture. So that is something, that is what I felt after reading this poem, and that is why I keep coming back to it, and that is why I have a lot about it to say, because it speaks to me in varied forms. Like I can apply it, I can read it, and I can say, oh yeah, it is totally like what I feel, or it is quite relevant. And that is why I think John Keats or the Romantic movement has not like died. It still lives, it still is prevalent in some form or the other. We still have literature, songs, poetry inspired by them, knowingly or unknowingly. Like the ideology is the same, but obviously we have different forms, different ways, different styles and forms of writing, different ways to express the similar emotion, but the emotion is the same. What we feel right now was also felt by our forefathers or the people who lived before us, and that kind of gives me some comfort. Although we have more resources, but they say like too many choices is a prison. So sometimes that can also be said. Although, you know, it's just what I feel, and I might be making some sense or I might not be making sense. But these are my thoughts, and I wanted to share it. I hope you liked my video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and share it. And I will meet you all in the next video. Thank you.